Whew, this was a very tough list to put together. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another Cobra Kai video. Today I'm giving you my top 10 favorite episodes out of all the show. We currently have 5 seasons and 50 episodes, so this was a very difficult list to put together. I'll have a lot of honorable mentions, but then I will get into my 10 through 1. Before I give you guys my top 10 episodes, be sure to let me know yours in the comments down below. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified for all my future reactions, reviews, rankings, all that good stuff. And of course, any future Cobra Kai related videos. So I'm going to start with my honorable mentions going from season 1 to season 5. The first honorable mention is season 1, episode 1. What a great way to open the show using Sirius at the end. Perfect music choice. Then season 1, episode 5, it's the first time we get a Miyagi flashback. We've got, the cafeteria fight. Daniel is back at the end. It's great stuff. Another honorable mention is season 1, episode 9, when Johnny finds out about Robbie and Daniel partnering up in training. It's just heartbreaking, honestly. Season 3, episode 4, and season 3, episode 9 are both honorable mentions as well. Shout out season 4, episode 5, the Johnny-Daniel rematch, as well as season 4, episode 8, the prom episode. And my last honorable mention is season 5, episode 9, where we get the party at the club. It's a very personal episode, and we see the whole Stingray Dungeons and Dojo scene. But kicking off my top 10 at number 10 is Cobra Kai season 5, episode 8, Tai Kai. The reason I dig this episode is because it was so unexpected to see Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do / Eagle Fang fight in like a legitimate tournament style fight so soon after the season 4 finale. This is when they both are training to try and get approval to be in the Sekai Taikai, and they both end up having to fight each other in direct competition. We get Kenny versus Hawk and Devin Lee versus Sam. Definitely subverts the expectations because we all thought it was going to be a Tori-Sam rematch, but Tori ended up bailing, and I was like, good for her. That was a nice moment for her character. This episode also made Kenny more hateable as he used the silver bullet on Hawk, which was just really uncalled for. It was super frustrating at times because the refs were paid off again, and I was just very irritated with that. But it is satisfying in the end as Cobra Kai is like granted access to Sekai Taikai first, but then Miyagi-Do / Eagle Fang, they're also allowed entry into the Sekai Taikai. And the episode ends with a very frustrating moment as Sam walks into the party and she sees Miguel kissing another girl, and it's just like, what are you doing? Adds to the drama, of course, with Tori pulling up and saying, Sam, you didn't lose the All Valley. My number 9 is season 2, episode 9, titled Pulpo. This episode is filled with house party drama to the max, and I'm here for that. We've got Stingray doing Edward 40 hands just being a lunatic, but we also have the Tori-Sam face-off where they're drinking and trying to balance on the bar stool. On top of all the teen drama in this at the house party, we've got a Johnny and Daniel dinner date that is just so unexpectedly pleasant as they're both kind of butting heads at first, but then Amanda and Carmen push the tables together and they end up sort of bonding in a way. It's like one of the few times early in the show where we get to see Johnny and Daniel being happy together. The most notable thing that happens in this episode probably is when Tori catches Sam and Miguel kissing. The drama. I mean, you gotta love the teen romance drama, and this season is filled with that, especially this episode. My number 8 is season 4, episode 9, The Fall, which is basically All Valley Part 1 and ends on probably the biggest cliffhanger of the entire show as Miguel is going up to kick Hawk, and then we hear a loud snap, and I literally thought that he broke his back again. It was devastating. I remember just being dead silent in my reaction. But leading up to that, we got some really cool fights. We got to see the skills competition. Carrie Underwood is in this episode and gives a pretty great performance singing Moment of Truth, which is a nice little callback. And this episode did a fantastic job of raising the stakes as we head into the season 4 finale, which we'll talk about later in this video. Number 7 on my list is season 3, episode 5, Miyagi-Do, which features a lot of badass, just amazing moments. It's also the halfway point of Cobra Kai as it stands right now, and what a great episode to hold that title. We've got Chozen training Daniel and teaching him more lore about Miyagi-Do that was withheld from Daniel from Mr. Miyagi way back in the day. This is where he teaches him the numbing move, as I like to call it. But we also get some epic showdowns in this as Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai are back at it. This is when Hawk is like peak villain here. This is like the moment where he might start to turn it around a little bit because he goes too far here. He ends up breaking Dimitri's arm, makes him one of the most hateable characters up to that point in the show, and Sam has a panic attack. You really feel for her because she just gets terrified in the moment. But while this is happening, we're also getting a showdown in Juvie with Robbie, and he's sort of taking on everybody in Juvie, especially Sean. And the way that it's shot, it's going back and forth between the Juvie showdown and the laser tag showdown. It's just really badass. The episode does a nice job of wrapping up the Okinawa arc as well, as we see the girl from Karate Kid Part 2 that Daniel rescued during that big storm. She actually comes back and she ends up helping him save LaRusso Otto with the whole Doyona deal. That story came full circle. It was another really great callback within this show. Number 6 on my list is season 1, episode 10, Mercy. This is the first time we see All Valley and Cobra Kai. Everyone is so young looking back on it now. And what I love about this episode is how conflicted I feel as a viewer. Like, there are moments where I really want Miguel to win, but then there's moments where I'm cheering openly for Robbie. This show knows how to handle conflict, and the season 1 finale is spectacular at that. that. I feel for Robbie, I feel for Miguel, but then you've got moments where Miguel gets a little dark side in him and he's going a little too far down the Cobra Kai path. I think the cherry on top of all this is that Johnny is going up against his own son, but he also has his son figure in Miguel and just adds so many layers to the showdown. Like Daniel and Johnny are facing off against each other, but not on the mat, and it's just brilliant. And of course, at the very end of this episode, we get the return of Kreese in one of the most badass returns in this show. Number 5 on my list is Season 5, Episode 5, titled Extreme Measures. I always talk about how Season 5 is my favorite season because it builds character relations and kind of comes full circle with a lot of these relationships. And this episode might be the best at that because Johnny sits down Robbie and Miguel and he says, hey, you guys are going to fight this out. We see this epic brawl between the two of them and Miguel almost has the upper hand, but he has a little flashback moment as he has Robbie on a balcony and he's like, what am I doing? And they both kind of put their differences aside and they're actually buddies for once, which warms my heart arguably more than anything in the show. But at the end of this episode, we get Silver versus Daniel in one of the biggest beatdowns in Cobra Kai. Silver's just toying with him. He's wailing on him and he literally could have killed Daniel. This puts Daniel at the lowest of lows and also cements Silver as the big bad villain of this franchise. Like, this is the low point for Daniel and Miyagi-Do. Everybody feels hopeless, and this has gotten way more personal than ever because we have left All Valley in the tournaments. We're attacking people outside of the dojo, coming for people's families and livelihoods, and it's getting out of hand. This episode did a great job of setting up the back half of Season 5 and really allowing for us to feel for Daniel as he is down tremendously. Number 4 on my list is Season 2, Episode 10, No Mercy, which is the infamous school brawl fight. I mean, 20 minutes of this episode is an all-out brawl that breaks out the high school. Tori and Sam exchanging blows, Miguel and Robbie exchanging blows, Hawk kicking ass, Dimitri having his moment to shine where he kicks Hawk into the trophy case. Even Stingray has his moment to kick some ass. This might be one of the more impressive episodes in terms of the way that it's shot. There's this gorgeous and just really dope one-shot scene where it's going from different fight scenes in the hallway. The way that shot gives me chills talking about it right now. It really ends in a heartbreaking, somber fashion. You know, Johnny says, I'm done. He throws his phone. Everyone's down bad at the end of the season. The episode actually opens with a Johnny versus Daniel showdown. It's one of the bigger fist pump moments for me, and little did I know when I first watched this episode that they would have a legitimate rematch later in Season 4. But this is like the first outstanding, epic episode of Cobra Kai in my opinion, and I love it. Number 3 on my list is Season 4, Episode 10, The Rise, aka the Season 4 finale. This is what the show had been building up to. You know, the stakes were the highest it had ever been in Season 4 as the loser of All Valley was done. Their dojo had to be basically shut down. Well, this episode gives us the best fight in Cobra Kai, arguably, with Hawk versus Robbie in the final for the boys. We also get Tori versus Sam, which is epic as hell as well. The Hawk and Robbie fight going to sudden death and just the way that that all plays out is incredible. And then, of course, Tori takes Sam down, which really upsets me because I love Sam, but we find out that it was rigged, and knowing that and rewatching it is even more infuriating because Sam should have won and Miyagi-Do would not have had to shut down. I think this episode fully solidifies Terry Silver as the big bad villain. He literally overthrows Kreese and screws over Kreese, has him arrested at the end of this episode. It's crazy how far the All Valley tournament has come from Karate Kid 1 and Karate Kid Part 3. It's just impressive. The fight choreography, the drama in this episode, the score. There are so many moments to love in this episode. Now, this is a toss-up between my top 2. It kind of goes back and forth every day. My runner-up as it stands right now is the Season 5 finale, Head of the Snake. This episode just has everything. We get a full-on brawl per usual, as we do in season finales, at the Cobra Kai dojo with Hawk and Dimitri and everyone trying to get this YouTube video uploaded while everyone else is playing defense downstairs. Mike Barnes, Shozen, and Johnny pull up to Terry Silver's house to try and fight him, and they get in this epic showdown. There's a moment where Johnny gets his ass beat, but then the picture of his future kid falls out, and he has the second wind, and we get a badass moment with some rock and roll where he destroys some fools. We also get a Kill Bill-esque sword fight between Shozen and Silver, which had me on the edge of my seat. Literally thought Shozen got his back slashed and died. And of course, we get the Silver vs. Daniel rematch where Daniel uses the Quicksilver method on Silver himself. I have chills thinking about the way that was edited with the flashbacks to Part 3, and of course, it ends with the crane kick, which is another awesome callback because Silver would always trash talk how it was stupid, but he ends up using it on him, and they take down Silver, putting his ass in jail. Stingray has some hilarious moments here, and everyone again gets their time to shine in this finale episode. Cobra Kai is done. Honestly, this could have served as the series finale in my opinion if they added 30 more minutes, you know, did a little time jump maybe, had everyone end in a happy spot. The only loose end is that Kreese breaks out at the very end of this episode after faking his death at the beginning. He's now a free man. What is his plan as we head into season 6? Who's to say? We'll have to wait and find out. But this is damn near my favorite episode, but it falls just shy because my number 1 favorite episode of Cobra Kai is season 3, episode 10, December 19th. Who doesn't love a good Christmas episode of Cobra Kai? As always in these finales, we get a full-on brawl at the LaRusso house between Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai. Carol of the Cobras is a badass score, and Duel of the Snakes, the score that plays later in the episode, is fantastic. Like, this episode in particular probably has the best score out of any in the show. We get some clarity with Allie and Johnny and Daniel Daniel and that whole relationship. Ali served a perfect role here. She sort of told Johnny, it's fun to look back at the past, but we gotta enjoy the present and especially look forward to the future. And that allowed him to realize he really did love Carmen, and he went to go tell her that. During this whole brawl at the LaRusso household, we get some Hawk redemption, and it's about damn time. They made him so hateable in the season, but he finally had that moment of realization where he's like, what am I doing? He goes and saves Dimitri and ends up teaming up with his binary brother to kick some ass. We also get Sam versus Tori round 2, and we see Sam with the bow staff fighting Tori with the nunchucks. That is just badass. But the cherry on top of all this is that at the very end we get Kreese versus Johnny, with Robbie sort of lurking, and it's just very Star Wars. It feels like Robbie is Anakin Skywalker being lured to the dark side. Johnny fights Kreese, damn near dies, and Kreese is about to kill him, but who comes in to save the day? Daniel. That might be the most hype moment in the show for me. I remember my reaction, I almost took down my damn wall behind me from jumping in the air and just going crazy. And then we finally get the team up we've been waiting for, with Johnny and Daniel teaming up at the very end to fight Cobra Kai in season 4. But the agreement made between Johnny and Daniel and Kreese is this: the loser of All Valley has to shut down their dojo. That right there makes the stakes the highest they've ever been as we head into season 4, and that's why this is my favorite episode of the show right now. It's the most important. It sets up an entire season. We also enter the villain arc for Robbie. We get some badass fights and some really sweet and sentimental character moments as well. It's everything I love about Cobra Kai wrapped up into one episode for a perfect Christmas gift, and just episode in general. But those are just my top 10 favorite episodes of Cobra Kai as it stands right now. Again, this list could change, and I'll probably remake it once season 6 comes out, because I'm sure some of those episodes will be in the top 10. Hell, maybe all of them. But what are your favorite episodes of Cobra Kai? Let me know in the comments down below, and be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can notify for future Cobra Kai videos and videos in general. Thank you guys again for watching, and until next time, see you guys later. Peace.